Right, cookery. In a big kitchen, the servant who's in charge of the larder, here he is, he brings out different provisions, that's different types of food, from the larder. A larder is a place where the food is stored. And here's the cook. You see he's covered up his hair because he doesn't want to get hair in the food, otherwise his boss won't be very happy. He takes the different provisions and he prepares different kinds of dishes with it. Firstly, if he's given a bird, he pulls all the feathers off the bird and he takes the guts out as well. Because back in the old days you couldn't just go to the butcher shop and have that done, you'd have to do it yourself. So he has to gut the birds and then here he hangs them up. Also what he does is you can see it doing here with this fish. He's cut slices in the fish and then he puts fat into the meat to make it taste really nice and soft, and he uses what's called a larding needle to push the fat into the meat. He takes rabbits and he hangs them and then he boils them in pots. Here we can see a big pot, and he will boil the meat in the pot or in a big kettle over the fire. Remember we saw a copper kettle before. This is the kettle boiling over the fire, or on the hearth itself. Right, this is the hearth down here, and you can cook the meat right on the hearth, but usually the kettle is hung up above the fire. And what he does is he skims the boiling liquid with a skimmer, because on top there will be lots and lots of froth. So what he's holding in his hand here is a skimmer to skim the boiling froth when he's boiling up the bits of meat in the water. He seasons the meat with spices, which he grinds up in a pestle and mortar. So here is the pestle, it's the stick made of stone or metal, and here's the mortar, which in this case is made of metal, and he grinds that round and round and round to grind the pepper and the spices and different herbs up into powder. Or he can use a grater, and he can grate the things up with a grater to make very fine powder. And here's a grater hanging up on the wall to grate, say, nutmeg or other things that he wants to add to the food that's going to be in fine powder. Some meat he roasts on a spit. So here's a chicken. You can see its legs, here its legs and its wings, and it's on a pole across the fire which turns round and round and round. This is called a spit. Right, the Passover sacrifice, the Korban Pesach, was roasted in the same way. Right, the pole was put right through the lamb, and it was turned round and round and round and roasted on the spit. And this spit is turned with a machine here, with the gears turning round and round and round, so a person hasn't got to stand there all day. Also, he can roast them on a griddle, which is a slab of metal like this, and that can be heated up, and he can roast the meat on here, on a gridiron. Or he can fry them in a frying pan. Here's a frying pan, and this frying pan is put by the fire, and he can fry in that. Or he can use a special kind of metal iron to heat the meat up. Other kinds of kitchen utensils, especially in the old days, it was very, very important because you had a fire. So you had a coal rake here because you had to poke around in the fire. So you had a coal rake to move the coals around. You had a chafing dish that was for browning the meat, and here it is here. So that's a dish that you'd heat up very hot, and you just put the meat in it for a very short time until it got browned. And to carry food around, you would have a tray. I'm trying to find it here. There's a tray for carrying the food. And you'd also put dishes and things into the tray. And here are some dishes. Here. And we have platters or plates. Where are they? Can you see them? Because I can't. But I think they are. There they are. Plates. We also have a pair of tongs. 26. Here they are. This is for lifting up things that are hot or for picking up things out of the fire. And we have a shredding knife for cutting things into small bits. Here it is. So for chopping up vegetables, a shredding knife. And we have a colander, which is used for draining the rice or for draining vegetables. It's got holes in it so the water can come out. And we have a basket, which is used for carrying things around. And very important to keep the kitchen clean, we have a broom here in the corner. So that's our kitchen in the olden days. And a lot of these things we still have in our kitchen nowadays.